This is a response video to a comment I got on my YouTube short, Chainsaw Man's best and worst manga panel, that I re-uploaded to TikTok. You can check out the original video on my main channel. In the short, I analyzed the panel that sold me on Chainsaw Man back in 2018 in as much detail as you possibly can in a short. Imagine if he just did this on accident and now this guy analyzed it for no reason, in response to my analysis of this panel from Chainsaw Man's debut chapter. I'll give my thoughts on whether or not Tatsuki Fujimoto did this on accident or not later, but first of all, and in all honesty, this is a point I've had to conceptually think about as someone who has a YouTube channel where I mostly do media analysis to practice my analysis and writing skills. Check it out, by the way. I enjoy analysis and understanding how things work, but what is the point of analysis and does it even matter? Analysis is the understanding of why something works the way it does, why it makes us feel the way it makes us feel. When I read Chainsaw Man for the first time back in 2018, I thought this panel was really cool, but I couldn't explain to you why I thought it was cool other than the fact that I just found it cool. I only developed the verbiage to explain this 8 years later, to rationally explain the irrational feeling it gave me. The analysis always existed, I'm just putting words to it. I think there's a subset of the internet that have told themselves all art is subjective so you can't critique it, or let people enjoy things, that have had their brains turn into mush. And on the flip side, there's people who just say, oh, this good thing is good because it is good, or this thing is bad because it is bad. But I feel you ought to understand why you find good things good in order to honor the art and also honor your capability of finding good in things, because you feel it's good. Like, I don't think there exists a shallow reason you can enjoy something. You probably just don't fully understand why you enjoy it, and I mean, that's okay too. So while art is subjective, I think there's objectivity to that subjectivity, if that makes sense. If something makes you sad, why does it make you sad? How does it make you sad? And how effectively does it do all that? This is all analysis. So whether or not Tatsuki Fujimoto broke all these compositional rules on accident or not doesn't matter, because it clearly had an effect on readers, and this analysis is explaining why it had that effect on readers. We're in an age of digital media where you're constantly bombarded with information, and the millisecond you're bored of a video, you can just swipe on to the next video that you're also going to swipe on, which is something I talk about in my most recent video. Check it out. The point being introspection against how fast and loud everything is, and understanding the subtext, effect, intention, and the society a news article or research paper, the media you consume was created in, is all the more important now than ever. Analytical skills help you do all of that, and ultimately it's the bridge between you, your feelings towards art, and the art itself. If you are an artist and you want to make great art, you ought to assume that your audience is smarter than you. And if you want to be a good audience, you ought to assume the artist is smarter than you, and there was an intentional or unintentional reason for all their artistic decisions. Akira Toriyama is a manga great. He needs no introduction. And I got most of my understanding of how the movement works in manga based on a blog post from Nikaido Renji, who was breaking down the Dragon Ball manga. Action usually follows from right to left, but Akira Toriyama occasionally breaks it with purpose, which has an effect on readers. Big stretchy guy Piccolo's arm here moves from left to right, but as Nikaido Renji breaks it down in the blog post, this gives the illusion that he's almost moving away from his arm, like his arm is pushing out his body, because that's literally what's happening. He is stretching out his arm. That's his character. And with this in mind and analysis, I can break down why I dislike this panel from Demon Slayer, why it's hard to follow, and why it was probably made the way it was. On this first panel, we assume the demon is attacking, and then Tanjiro jumps out of the way. But on this second panel, the demon moves out of the way, and then Tanjiro attacks. It's weird. And then your eyes are also looking at Tanjiro last, and then you're looking at his attack, so you kind of read it like this, and then you go back. It's just kind of messy. So if we flip it around, the attack looks fast, and you read it in one line. You see it over here, you see Tanjiro's attack comes out, and it looks fast, and the dodging that happens after the attack comes out also feels fast. But when you flip it around, you also understand why the mangaka made it this way, because they wanted to maintain some level of continuity. They wanted to keep Tanjiro on the left side, but the unintentional side effect is that it's still hard to follow. Your eyes are just doing more work because of the choreography and compositioning of the fight. So we feel things when we see art, and with analysis, we can understand why it makes us feel that way, and if it doesn't do a good job, why it was potentially made that way too. Okay, now all that being said, did Tasuki Fujimoto break all these compositional rules on accident? He generally has more experience drawing Denji facing the left, and given the opportunity, generally draws Denji facing the left. And also Tasuki Fujimoto just has a really good understanding of other compositional and artistic techniques and rules. Things like negative space, like the rule of thirds, of contrast, and so on. Okay, so did he break all these compositional rules on purpose? I mean, maybe, but also I don't think it matters because the panel is cool and it worked anyway.